Hello, another video where I sit down and I talk about a 10-year-old game. Just really quick, I wanted to say that the videos will probably be coming out weekly now, like on a Friday. I'm gonna try and do them every Friday. If not, it'll be like on the weekend or something. Whenever I can fit them around work, it'll be around like the weekend time, pretty much because before I was just doing them randomly. I'd make sure to do one a week, but I was doing them randomly. And I think it's better for me to just do them every Friday, so it's something that you guys can look forward to over the weekend and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how they're going to be running from now on. I've got another video that I want to get done just after Christmas, though. It'll be sometime after Christmas, which will be probably a very long video, be around an hour, maybe even 2 hours, because I will have somebody there with me, hopefully, if it all works out. If it doesn't work out, then disregard this. There'll be no special episode. It'll just be a regular episode. But yeah, that's what you've got to look forward to, I guess. So, first things first. I wanted to talk about Gravelord event streams because that's mainly what I try to get set up, and a few other people try to get set up as well. Because the thing about Gravelord event streams is um, one, I think they're better than fight clubs just because of the way the game is played these days. Not many people are dueling anymore, and so if you stream to try and get a fight club together, it's very hard. But if you try to stream like a Gravelord event, people will show up, no problem. Um, the last few Gravelord events that um, me and Hasuru did were really good. I really enjoyed all of them. Uh, it's such an easy way to get a large group of people in one space just playing the game with each other, and it's a lot more relaxed, I feel, than going to the Berg or anywhere for that matter and having to duel. Because when you are dueling, it seems it's a lot less laid back than just being in some Gravelord world. Like you could be hosting it with like 2v4s, stuff like that. But the reason why I believe that they'll become more of a thing in the future is because as the game is going to get even older and have less population, gravelording is like the easiest thing to do if you want activity these days. So doing that on a stream is only just going to boost that activity. Um, I see it be done on PC as well. I see PC players do that stuff as well. Um, and I just feel like it is, especially with the direction that the game's been going for the past like 3 years, I can see it being the more common practice when people stream is to just be a host in Township gravelording with a bunch of your friends. Because in my opinion, it's one of the most entertaining ways to play the game. It used to be for me that duels were the more entertaining part of the game, but as the community got less competitive, uh, that stuff just kind of dwindled away, and now it's more just invasion style gameplay, which is why I would love to try and get a 2v2 tournament together. The reason why I would want to make it a 2v2 tournament is, again, 1v1s are not really desirable in this game anymore. As sad as that is for me, for the wider community that's here now, they are primarily just invading. There's really nobody dueling anymore. And the reason why a 2v2 tournament would fit in more than a 1v1 tournament is because it would cater more to that play style, of that invasion play style. I'm not 100% sure if I'm just going to make it regular tournament rules, or I will make them more specified to allowing certain things, like maybe healing with Estus, certain things being banned, like parry BSing out of a BS, because stuff like that is kind of like ruins the whole like pacing of that kind of stuff. You'd be a lot more passive in that way if that stuff was allowed. So maybe I would change things like that. But I think that a 2v2 tournament, if I could get it going, would be entertaining, a lot more entertaining than just like your standard regular run of the mill tournament. Because I was thinking about putting a money prize on it as well, but after speaking with a few people, it's not that time anymore. It's not that time anymore. And people, when they want to enter a tournament, I don't feel like they are entering the tournament anymore for like reputation or anything. It's more just entering the tournament to compete with your friends in a way. Like, you could look at it as more of like a very it's like a fight club, but it's just a lot more set up and a lot more thought going into it. That's what tournaments are these days. I can't remember the last time I watched the tournament and I was like, damn, these people really want to win this tournament. The majority of tournaments have gone the way of, just randomness and not very well thought out. This is no shade to anybody that's hosted the tournament. It's just the way the community is these days. Like, there's a lot of disinterest when it comes to competitive style of gameplay and stuff like that. It's the interest just isn't there anymore due to the community just being so old now, and a lot of those competitive players going. But yeah, I would absolutely want to try and get a 2v2 tournament going, because I feel like it would be a nice change of pace for the community. And also, like, a lot of people on PS4, they don't mix in the wider community. There's a bunch of people on PS4 that I'm sure people have never even heard of that could definitely come into this tournament, and you could see these people that you don't necessarily see outside of like being on the PlayStation 4 platform. Just moving on from that, I wanted to talk about some videos that I've got planned for in the future. I've got one video that I want to make, would be a video centered around kicking, the kick mechanic. But everyone knows what kicking is, everyone knows how to use them, but I feel like other than Krame's video, which was his video on kick confirming, there's not a lot of stuff out there about like the way to use kicking effectively, and situations in which kicking is favoured over other tactics and stuff like that, or like rolling kicks is another one as well. Like, because a lot of people these days, when they are going for a BS, they're likely to kick confirm, and I don't see a lot of people punishing people that are just spamming kick confirm, and it can make the BS game really, really boring for some people if people are just whiffing a BS all day and all they're doing is kick confirming, and you're just getting kicked away, so you can't really punish them. So I want to make a video about kicks, the strength of kicks, situations where you should use kicks, situations where you shouldn't, as well as how to punish each and every one of those scenarios with kicks, because kicking is so important in remaster, because it's such a way to get somebody off you, and I feel like there's no video out there like dedicated to going over kicks and how important they actually are. Even though the majority of people know them, I'm sure it'd be good information for a new player. So that's a video I want to make. Another video I want to make is a video on pivots. Pivots are very strong in Remaster. They're a lot stronger than they were in P2D. Not that they were not effective in P2D, they still were. It's just in P2D, in my opinion, pivoting was a lot harder to do. It was much of a reaction and prediction type tech that instead in Remaster it can very much be done by just, you know, randomly running around a player and getting it that way. But that playstyle is still very punishable, but I feel that not enough people who have been playing the game for the period of time that Remaster has been out, that they understand the correct way of using things like pivots and how to punish them correctly. So what you get instead is you just get like a bunch of people in Township or wherever you might be that are just running laps around each other, trying their absolute hardest to pivot BS each other, and as soon as one of them gets the failed pivot BS and gets BS for it, they'll just run off into the Township PvP, into the Township PvE, and they will heal and they will send you a message calling you dog shit afterwards. But I want to make a video on pivots because they're still incredibly good and essential to the PvP. It's not essential for every fight, obviously, but against the average player, just strafing doesn't work anymore. And pivoting has become like a flashy thing for some people. It really has, even though it's such a simple technique that's in the game. It's considered flashy for some reason for some people. But I'd like to make a video on that and displaying how they're used properly. Again, like the kick video, the situations in which they can be applied, and then ways to punish that situation, all of those situations. Because I want to make videos like that don't just like tell you, oh, this is how you do this technique. I want to make videos that also show you like these are still punishable. Like these are not like techniques that you do and you're automatically going to win. Like these are things that if you see other people do, you can also punish them for doing so, especially if they're done incorrectly, which again is the majority of people that are doing, or what they think they're doing is pivots, are not really pivots. So I wanted to make a video on that as well. Going just a tad bit away from that, I just want to talk about I wanted to talk about how to actually improve at just BSing in general, especially with a lot of the new players coming to the game, and I'll probably make a solo video on this as well. A lot of the new players coming to the game, a huge turn off, especially when Remaster came out, because when Remaster had come out, it was something that everybody from the communities tried. Bloodborne, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, these people that had never even touched this game. Like, there are people that have started on Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne and 3, and they've never even had the opportunity to try, because this game, the only real way to play it was on PC and console, you know, like Xbox 360 and PS3. So when Remaster came out, it was a huge opportunity for everybody to come to this game, and immediately a lot of those people were turned off by how quote unquote easy it was to BS in the game, which if you've got very little experience with the game, it looks that way, and I can see how for a player that is very new to the game it does look like that, and it does look like there is not much to the game outside of just run BSing somebody. You know, I can understand the frustration in going from those other games that don't have passive poise coming into Dark Souls, and you can't just think about it in like a Dark Souls 3 sense of that as long as my spacing is okay, I should be okay. Just because your spacing is good in Dark Souls 1 doesn't mean that you will go unpunished just for pressing the R1 button. That's not how it works. So a lot of people were turned off by things like passive poise and instant BS and different types of priorities that came with BSing. Latency as well, another huge one that is a huge adjustment from 2 Bloodborne and 3 coming to Dark Souls 1, because a lot of that is centered around the BS game. And the biggest piece of advice I've probably got for really improving, and this is a tip I gave to Burgerman, which is a guy that I've been trying to teach a little bit to get better. Not just myself, like myself and Eric and Corbin play with Bergman a lot, trying to make him better at the game. And the main advice I gave to him was don't worry about losing to people that are outplaying you in the BS game. What I told him to do was just use a BS stick for a few days, whether you die or not. But when you do die, make sure you look at exactly what the other person did and try to see how it would have looked on their screen compared to how it looked on your screen. Because you can be really, really good at run BSing somebody, but it will only get you so far unless you understand latency. Latency is a huge part of being able to BS somebody in this game, because you have to understand where your screen does not matter, really, to be honest. It matters where their back is on their screen, and the only way you can do that is by attempting things that you'd otherwise be uncomfortable with, like going for a pivot BS, or really cutting it close with what time to pull out against a certain player. And you are definitely not going to do either of those two things without getting punished for it at least 100 times over and dying, which is another thing I wanted to talk about, and that is that why dying for, as a new player and old player, but to a lesser extent old players, more new players, dying is not a bad thing at all in this game. One, this game is not looked at the way it used to be. Used to be that it was a lot more of a toxic environment to be around if you were not a good player, because you were just kind of talked down to a lot. This community wasn't very inviting, but with the way the community is now, being a bad player, or not bad, but being somebody that isn't necessarily as good as other people that have been playing the game way longer than you have to understand that there are people playing this game that have been playing it for like 10 years to 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, so as a new player, dying is actually the best thing for you, because there's a lot of things in this game that can only be learned by losing. Losing a lot, actually. I didn't do well for the longest time in this game because there was just so much I didn't understand. But it was through playing with people that were miles better than me, and actually taking the time to explain to me what it was I did wrong, because I was also under the assumption that this game was just not very good and that it wasn't me, it was the game. Everything was the game's fault, and it's things like passive poise and instant BS and oh, the latency, and oh, this, all that. I can't swing my very big weapon without getting punished for it. You know, all this sort of stuff that really turned me off from the game is what turned a lot of the new players away, is finally understanding that I can do all these things. I can swing my very big weapon, but I just can't do it like an idiot. So a lot of this game is getting past wanting to win all the time and just be at that level already, because it just doesn't happen. This game is I'm gonna get like a lot of shit for saying this. This game is a lot deeper than you would otherwise see people give it credit for. When it comes to fighting really good players, the amount of things you can actually do. I said this in the last video. This game is so incredible for the way you can make people do what you want them to do and not necessarily what they would otherwise do if not pressured to do it. Similar, oh my god, I'm gonna get killed for this as well. Similar to in a fighting game, how you would condition the person you're fighting to fuck up on purpose. Like, but the only way you're gonna do that is if you understand how the game works, and you can almost pressure somebody into making a mistake. And I think with the amount of options that are out there to do stuff like that, it's very off-putting for new players because they don't understand that necessarily. They just see that they're not winning when they feel like they really should have, or they bring over a lot of bad habits from the other games, because the games play completely different. You can't play Dark Souls 3 how you would play Dark Souls 1. You can't. I personally think it's a more bare bones game, but I wouldn't go into Dark Souls 3 and expect to do well just because I'm a Dark Souls 1 player. It's not how it works. So definitely when you're a new player coming to this game, winning should be the last thing on your mind, because you are not going to win at all against like top players unless you understand the game, because a player with all that knowledge is going to use everything to their advantage, and it may look scuffed on your screen, it may seem like, you know, it's just quote unquote bad game design, stuff like that, but I think with the amount of things the game has been fortunate enough to have been discovered, and the things that it allows you to do, has added to the longevity that it's had, because it's still finding new ways to play the game. But again, I guess that makes it a lot harder for new players to come into, because even veteran players have changed the way they play from PTE to remaster. I'm really rambling. But yeah, getting back on topic. Dying is the best thing for you to do in the game, because it's really the only way you're going to learn. That and fighting players that are better than you. And a lot of that is just putting the ego that you may have from other Souls games aside, and just looking more at what other people are doing and asking questions and watching all my videos because they're pretty fucking good. But yeah, what's another thing I wanted to talk about? Switch community. That's what I wanted to talk about. I love the Switch community. I love them so much. The server is dog shit though. You guys need to do something about that server. That the biggest problem I think the Switch community has is that server is just so horrible to be in sometimes. It's quite bad. The Switch server these days reminds me of the way the first PS4 server was that I set up. Before Remastered came out, I set up a PS4 server for players from Xbox and PS3, and some that came even from PC to play it on console. I set up a place for them to be and to talk, and it went very, very, very bad. It was awful. It was so bad. And when I look at Switch, like, that server got nuked, it got deleted. There was another one that went the same way, got nuked, and now there's another PS4 server that I only invite people that play on PS4 to. There's no chance of me letting people outside of that community come in, because I want everybody to feel like it is their place to be. Because a lot of, like I said before, a lot of the people from the PS4 community don't want to mix with the wider audience, you know. But going back to the Switch server, I see people join that server, somebody will say something retarded, and then they will leave instantly. And that is exactly how the PS4 server was. And I am afraid that because the Switch community is the newest community this game has, right? It probably has the most potential as well, because it has the most new players. And I don't think the new players understand that at one point in a few years you will be the main community, and the only way you're going to keep that a possibility and alive is by making the Switch server more welcoming to other people, because you will have people in there that are just vile to other people, and you may feel bad for removing those people, but believe me, when you do, you're only like, getting rid of one guy is not going to hinder the community at all, because it will be a more welcoming environment for other newer players to come into that actually want to be a part of the community and don't just want to shit all over it. I see that the Switch community are gonna take over what was like they're going to be the wider community someday, when all of us have like stopped playing. It will probably just be the Switch community left, because, you know, Switch is not a very expensive console. It's full of people that, again, it's their first Souls game or something. But for you to keep a community like that, you need a place for them to be, and the Switch server sometimes isn't great. There are some times where I'll be in the Switch server and I will just say random things because I don't even feel like I can have a conversation with half of them, because it's just, you just got people in there that will not know when to turn off the what's the word? They just don't know when enough is enough, I feel, and it turns a lot of people that could be joining your community away, because they just don't want to be around that all the time, 24/7. But the reason I wanted to say that is because, like, again, the Switch community is the newest community in Dark Souls 1, and so it has the most room to grow, because of its accessibility, with it being such a new place that anybody can really come to it. And again, like, the Switch community are not a very competitive community. Like, they just kind of want to play the game because they love the game, which is the best way to be. But if your environment is not a healthy environment to be around, it will eventually die. the same thing happened with other Dark Souls servers. There are so many Dark Souls servers that a lot of you don't even know about that are just gone because they died because the community just wasn't there for it anymore. Which is exactly the same thing that's going to happen to the Switch server if it's not looked after properly, and treated properly. You won't have it anymore. It's as simple as that. Um, so I feel like the Switch community needs to work on making itself a little bit more welcoming to other people. Alright, now that I've done taking a big dumpy on the Switch community, I want to talk about other streams. Because I like everyone. Victor. I like Victor. I do. I like Victor. He's one of the nicer people in the community because he's just so innocent and lovely. Always streaming Dark Souls. If he's not streaming Dark Souls, he's streaming art related to Dark Souls. That kid shits Dark Souls, bro. He fucking loves it. I'll put a link to Victor down in the description because I do like Victor, and I do feel like everyone knows who Victor is, but when he's streaming, you guys just ain't there. What's wrong with that? What's up with that? What's wrong with you? Be nicer to Victor, alright? Okay, another one that I wanted to speak about is, and I need to speak about him because he's back. I don't know where he's been. I don't know if I've just been missing him when he does stream, but Bong is back. I'm so happy that Bong is back because Bong is hilarious. Shiba, timing, the list goes on. He's got so many quotes. Korean man, a lovely, beautiful Korean man. My favourite clip of Bong is I went into his chat and I asked him how he was doing, and he said he's doing very well because he had Sexu. Very nice. Yeah. I love Bong. Bong is one of my favorites, and has been since he started. Like he was instantly like a must watch every single time he streamed. I love watching Bong. Just because like he doesn't care what you think at all. He does not give a shit what you think about how he plays or what he does. His enjoyment comes out of just beating the fuck out of you because he knows. I think Bug knows he's not the best player, so when he does shit on you, bro, it's so funny to see his reaction when he does. So Bung's another one. I'll have him in the description as well. And I feel like I need to talk about Geo, because I really do like Geo. I think Geo is really funny. Him and his brother are so funny. They should be the owners of the Switch server, in my opinion. I think more Geo than Flop, just because Geo is just older than Flop, so I feel like he'd manage it better. But I love watching Geo because he's just very naturally funny. I feel like not a lot of his humor is forced. And he's made me piss myself laughing like a number of times. He recently remade his Twitch, which it sucks because I think to myself as well, like, you know, I've got a couple of followers on Twitch and I would hate to have to restart that, especially with the content that he had on his channel. I think it was very unfortunate that he suddenly had to start a new one. Because I think he started a new one because he is at the age now where he could possibly make like money off of it if he did get views and stuff. So obviously I want to plug Geo because not that you don't know who Geo is, a lot of you already know who Geo is, but I want everyone to know that he's made a new Twitch. I will link it and you will follow it and you will give him money, all the money, so that he can do face cam streams without a mirror strapped to his wall. Yeah, let's make that happen. No more wall mirror webcam streams, please. As I look back at this commentary, I realise it's a bit all over the place, but I'm not going to take any of it out. A lot of this was done very quickly. I left it really late because I had some stuff that I had to attend to. Some things with my son, some family related things, as well as Christmas this year not going as I planned it. It's going to be a very unfortunate Christmas for me. So this video is going to seem rushed, and that's because it really was, more than the first episode. The first episode I actually gave a few days to. I got on one day for the clips, and then I did the next day the commentary, and then I watched over it and I uploaded it. But I can tell that this video is a little bit all over the place. I'm very sorry. But the next one is the one that I am most excited for, because it is one that I think I thought I wasn't going to be able to do, and I'm so glad that I'm actually going to be able to do it. So I am going to have to leave it here, and I hope you still enjoy this to some extent, and I look forward, genuinely excited, to give you guys the next episode sometime after Christmas. But that's going to be it now. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Fuck you, Maine. I hate you, Maine. You suck.